Have you ever wondered what life is like on the other side of the world? Specifically, what is it like for women in North Korea? North Korea, a country known for its isolation and strict regulations, is an enigma to many. Its culture, heavily influenced by traditional values and the state ideology, is tightly controlled, leaving little room for personal freedom or expression. This is particularly true for North Korean women, who live under a web of rules that might seem strange, if not downright bizarre, to outsiders. From restrictions on clothing and makeup to mandates on their roles in society, these rules shape every aspect of their lives. But it's not just about the rules. It's about the people who live under them, their resilience, their struggles, and their hopes for a better future. We will explore 17 strange rules that North Korean women must follow. Buckle up. It's going to be an enlightening journey. Imagine not being able to have your picture taken by a tourist. That's a reality for North Korean women. Surprising, isn't it? In North Korea, foreign tourists are strictly barred from photographing or even speaking to local women without the government's approval. An innocent snapshot or a casual conversation could lead to serious repercussions. This rule is not just about privacy or cultural respect. It's a stringent control measure that reflects the country's closed-off nature. It's a form of censorship that restricts the freedom of both locals and visitors, and further isolates the North Korean society from the rest of the world. Violations of this rule can lead to severe consequences, ranging from fines and confiscation of equipment to detention. So, if you ever find yourself in North Korea, remember to respect this rule to avoid any trouble. This rule is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's delve deeper. Getting a divorce in North Korea is not as simple as signing some papers. In fact, it's a complex process that requires a court decision and is notoriously difficult to obtain. Unlike in many parts of the world where divorce is increasingly common, in North Korea, it's a rarity. Not only is the process arduous, but also the aftermath is harsh. Divorced women are often stigmatized and face considerable challenges when it comes to remarrying. Society views them with a critical eye, and their options become severely limited. Every decision in their lives is scrutinized, and they are often left to navigate a sea of judgment and prejudice. It's a heavy burden to carry. Wouldn't you agree? This is just one example of the challenges North Korean women face, a testament to their strength and resilience in a society that is far from easy. Imagine not being able to enjoy your favorite foreign movie or song. That's a reality for North Korean women. Participation in foreign music or films is not just frowned upon, it's considered a serious crime. The North Korean government views this as a form of cultural invasion, a threat to the country's identity and sovereignty. The severity of punishments varies, but it's particularly harsh for those caught watching American movies. The consequences can range from public shaming to imprisonment. The impact of this prohibition is profound. It significantly limits cultural exposure and artistic expression, creating a society that is isolated from the rest of the world. North Korean women are missing out on the global conversation, the shared human experience that art, in all its forms, can bring. It's a stark contrast to our freedom of expression, isn't it? In North Korea, what you wear is not a personal choice, but a state mandate. Every day, women are required to dress in simple, modest attire, often opting for the traditional Korean dress, the hanbok. This is a stark contrast to the global trend of self-expression through fashion. But in North Korea, self-expression does not have a place in the wardrobe. Western clothing, denim jeans, and anything that might be perceived as a symbol of Western influence is strictly prohibited. This rule is enforced not just to maintain a sense of cultural purity, but also to prevent the infiltration of Western ideologies. The dress code is more than just a fashion rule. It's a way the government maintains control and suppresses individuality. It's a stark reminder of the personal freedom that's often taken for granted elsewhere. It's hard to imagine not being able to wear jeans, isn't it? Getting behind the wheel is a no-go for women in North Korea. This rule is rooted in the government's belief that women cause too many accidents. However, there's no concrete evidence to back this claim. It's a stark contrast to the fact that women are allowed, even encouraged, to work as traffic police. They stand at intersections, directing traffic with precise, ballet-like movements. Yet, they themselves are not permitted to drive personal vehicles. The ban on driving is not only a restriction on mobility, but also a limitation on personal freedom. It's a stark reminder of the control the North Korean government exerts over its citizens' everyday lives. It's a world where the motor of progress seems to be in neutral, and women are left standing on the sidewalk, watching the cars pass by. Imagine not being able to drive, despite being perfectly capable. In North Korea, beauty is not in the eye of the beholder, but in the laws of the state. This is a place where individual expression through makeup is heavily regulated. The state has a firm grip on beauty standards, dictating what is and isn't acceptable. For instance, red lipstick, a universal symbol of allure and confidence, is outlawed. It's seen as too bold, too Western, too disruptive to the uniformity that the regime seeks to impose. But the regulations don't stop at lipstick. The state controls the cosmetics industry, deciding what products can be produced and sold. This control extends to personal grooming, dictating the acceptable ways women can present themselves. The aim? To maintain a homogeneous conforming society where individuality is suppressed and state-defined beauty reigns supreme. It's a stark contrast to the beauty freedom we enjoy, isn't it? Imagine a day where smiling is illegal. That's a reality for North Koreans. Picture this. It's July 8th, a day marked by a nationwide somber mood. Why, you ask? Well, July 8th marks the death anniversary of Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea. On this day, citizens are required to maintain a serious demeanor, devoid of any joy or laughter. Yes, you heard it right. Even a simple act of smiling is considered illegal. The prohibition symbolizes respect for the late leader, but it also paints a stark picture of the restrictions on personal freedom that North Koreans live with. It's a day when the state's control extends to even the most personal of human expressions, a smile. It's hard to fathom not being able to express joy, isn't it? Riding a bicycle, a simple joy for many, is off limits for North Korean women. This peculiar ban is rooted in a blend of societal norms and a bizarre incident involving a high-ranking official's daughter. The incident, as the story goes, sparked a nationwide prohibition, transforming a harmless, everyday activity into an act of defiance. This regulation, like many others, underscores the intense control exerted over women's lives in North Korea. It's not just about limiting mobility. It's a stark reminder of the constraints on personal freedom. The ban on bicycles is a metaphor for the many invisible boundaries that North Korean women navigate daily. It's a silent symbol of the larger struggle for autonomy and self-determination. These restrictions, while seemingly small, compound over time, shaping the daily reality of countless women in North Korea. Imagine not being able to enjoy a simple bike ride. In North Korea, having a son is not just a joy, but a societal expectation. The value placed on men in this society is quite high, creating a palpable pressure on women to bear sons. This isn't a simple matter of family preference or tradition. It's a societal mandate deeply woven into the fabric of North Korean life. The onus of this expectation falls heavily on women, who are often blamed if a son is not produced. The repercussions can be severe, from societal shaming to the grim reality of abuse and even divorce. The burden is as psychological as it is physical, a constant reminder of the patriarchal norms that still dominate many parts of the world. This obligation to bear sons, this gender preference, it's a stark reminder of the inequality that exists and the challenges that lie ahead in the pursuit of gender parity. It's a stark contrast to our belief in gender equality, isn't it? In North Korea, your hairstyle is not a personal choice, but a state mandate. The government has a list of 18 approved hairstyles for women, all of which are simple and traditional. These hairstyles are designed to promote a modest and conservative image, reflecting the country's cultural norms and values. On the contrary, modern or Western-inspired hairstyles are strictly prohibited. This means no vibrant hair colors, no extravagant hairdos, and certainly no haircuts that might be deemed rebellious or nonconforming. The purpose? To maintain a uniform appearance among citizens and discourage influence from foreign cultures. The enforcement of these hairstyle restrictions is stringent. Non-compliance is considered a serious offense and can lead to penalties. These can range from fines to mandatory re-education sessions, where citizens are reminded of their obligations to abide by the country's strict social norms. It's hard to imagine not being able to choose your own hairstyle, isn't it? Traveling, a simple joy for many, is heavily controlled for North Korean women. A journey, be it domestic or international, is not an activity undertaken lightly. Special permission is required for every trip, with the government keeping a tight rein on the mobility of its citizens. These restrictions are more than just bureaucratic red tape. They are emblematic of the severe limitations imposed on personal freedoms in the country. The reasons for these restrictions are manifold, from maintaining control and preventing defections to enforcing traditional gender roles. The implications are profound. Women's opportunities for personal growth, career advancement, and cultural exchange are severely limited by their restricted mobility. The world outside North Korea remains largely unseen and unknown. The ability to travel is a freedom many of us take for granted, but for North Korean women, it is a luxury out of reach. Imagine not being able to travel freely. In North Korea, education is a privilege, not a right, especially for women. Traditional gender roles dictate that a woman's place is in the home, not in the classroom. From an early age, girls are reminded of their domestic duties, and as they grow older, these expectations often pressure them into leaving school prematurely. This limitation on women's education is not just an infringement on their rights, but it also has far-reaching implications. The lack of education restricts their opportunities, stifling personal growth and economic independence. It perpetuates gender inequality, keeping women in a cycle of dependence and subservience. Moreover, it hinders the overall development of the country. When half the population is denied access to education, the nation loses out on a wealth of potential talent and innovation. This is one of the many ways in which North Korea's stringent rules limit not just individual freedom, but collective progress. It's a stark contrast to our belief in equal education, isn't it? In North Korea, knowledge is power, and it's heavily controlled. The government holds tight rein on information with a strict ban on foreign media. The only source of news for most people is state-controlled media, painting a picture of the world that suits the narratives of the regime. Accessing unauthorized content, whether it's a Hollywood movie or a South Korean pop song, can lead to severe punishment. This could range from imprisonment to even public executions, instilling a deep-seated fear that keeps people in line. This media and information control has far-reaching implications. It stifles personal growth, inhibits creativity, and prevents informed decision-making. It's a world where curiosity could cost you your freedom or even your life. And it's not just about keeping foreign influences out. It's also about controlling the narrative within the country, ensuring the population remains loyal and obedient. Imagine not being able to access information freely. Choosing a career is a personal decision, but not for North Korean women. In North Korea, the government takes the reins when it comes to employment. Jobs are assigned, not chosen, which means women don't have the freedom to pursue a career based on their interests, talents, or dreams. Instead, they are placed in positions determined by the state, often involving manual labor or service roles. Moreover, employment isn't optional. Every adult citizen, regardless of gender, is required to work as part of the country's socialist economy. Refusal to comply with this mandate doesn't just lead to unemployment. It can result in severe penalties, including imprisonment. This absence of career choices is a stark contrast to the freedom and flexibility many of us enjoy when it comes to our professional lives. It's hard to imagine not being able to choose your own career, isn't it? In North Korea, women are the financial backbone of the family. This might strike you as surprising, given the stringent gender roles we've discussed so far. But here's the twist. While men are typically tied to low-paying government jobs, women have found their niche in the country's burgeoning informal market economy. These markets, known as jang-madang, are where most of the nation's commerce happens, from food to clothing, household goods, and even entertainment. Women are the driving force behind these markets, trading goods and services to support their families. This economic power, however, does not translate into social or political power. Women continue to face severe restrictions and inequalities across all aspects of life. But despite the odds, they're carving out a space for themselves, becoming the de facto breadwinners of their households. It's a stark contrast to our belief in equal work opportunities, isn't it? In North Korea, marriage is a societal obligation, not a personal choice. It's a ritual that is steeped in tradition and heavily influenced by the government. The process begins with family arrangements, where parents play a pivotal role in choosing a spouse for their children, often prioritizing social status and compatibility over personal feelings. Government involvement is also a key aspect of North Korean marriages, with authorities playing an active role in the final decision. This practice further underscores the control exerted by the state over individual lives, extending even to the most intimate of personal decisions. The implications of these traditions on personal freedom are profound. The concept of marrying for love, a notion cherished in many cultures around the world, is often overshadowed by societal expectations and government interference. This highlights the stark contrast between North Korean marriage traditions and those of other cultures. Imagine not being able to marry for love. In North Korea, essential items like contraceptives and sanitary pads are often out of reach. The government's ban on the import of these products has led to the rise of a precarious black market, where items are sold at exorbitant prices, far beyond the reach of most women. This has serious implications for women's health. Without access to these necessary items, women are forced to resort to less than ideal solutions. For instance, during menstruation, many use cloth towels, a practice that can lead to infections if not managed properly. The lack of contraceptives also exacerbates the risk of unwanted pregnancies, spreading sexually transmitted diseases, and the overall burden on women's health. This restriction starkly highlights the challenges North Korean women face in maintaining their health and dignity in the face of severe governmental control. It's hard to imagine not having access to such essential items, isn't it? We've journeyed through 17 strange rules that North Korean women must follow, from the severe prohibition on photographing women by foreigners and the stringent divorce laws to the surprising ban on women participating in music and movies. We've explored the enforced dress codes, the restrictions on driving, and the peculiar beauty standards. We've delved into the unusual rules around smiling, riding bicycles, and the societal pressure to bear sons. We've uncovered the strict hairstyle regulations, travel restrictions, and the limited access to education. We've discussed the media and information ban, the lack of career choices, and the surprising fact that women are the main breadwinners. We've examined the traditional marriage practices and the restrictions on essential items like contraceptives and sanitary pads. Remember, understanding different cultures is the first step towards a more inclusive world. Thanks for joining us on this journey.